I'm the Prez, he's Ralph Michaels, and this, my friends, is Morning Joe and the Pro. We look at the NBA games on the board, and there's only one tonight. So no Morning Joe and the Pro tomorrow. We're going to combine the shows. We'll do both games tonight. And who better to have to talk about them than the great Ralph Michaels, the legend himself, the man with the database, the man with the stats, the most sought-after guy in the sports handicapping industry, Mr. Quoted on every show on the planet, from Scott Van Pelt to Jim Rome, from John Law in Australia to some guy I'll make up, Vadislenko in Russia. He's Ralph Michaels, and I'm just honored to be on a show with you.
You know what? And just to mention, any radio hosts out there, you guys need a spot filled, reach out to me at Twitter at CalSportsLV or shoot me an email, Ralph@WagerTalk.com.
Yeah. The guy only does 100 a week, so get in early, Ralph. I was on Houston last night. Don't understand why a team fouls with 3 seconds to go down by 4. Never understood it. It's one of the stupidest parts of basketball. It's why the NBA is my least bet sport. With that said, I'm 3-1 in my last 4 NBA plays. I've been on both unders in the Raptor game, and I've been on Houston twice. That's my 3-1. How are you doing, my friend? Did you win your big $2 Tuesday game yesterday?
I did not. It was a 4-3 defeat. So drops my MLB record to 16-5 the last 21 plays. I do have a 2-for-1 available on Wednesday. I have my first 4% play in the NBA playoffs. First 4% in the entire playoffs goes tonight, and a huge dog as a 4% MLB play, 2-for-1 at WagerTalk.com.
He's Ralph Michaels. I'm the Prez. You're watching Morning Joe and the Pro. Make sure to watch First Pitch today. Teddy and I take apart every baseball game. Teddy actually earned himself 2.5 red cards on that show. 3, and the show is canceled for the day. And check out Carmine, Alex B. Smith, and myself on Puck Time, where we look at all the NHL games. Ralph, let's get to it. Denver, 1-0 on the series, at home tonight, -4. The over and under is 219. Portland did not look good at any side of the court last game. I'm expecting a better effort from Portland tonight. Will they cover the 4, and is this going to be a high-scoring game?
Well, I don't know about a high-scoring game because both teams shot over 50%. So, the total's up in the air for me. But, one thing I want to mention is all those players that talk about zigzag in the playoffs. Let me just put that to rest. Zigzag worked great in the 1990s. Zigzag worked great in 2000s. Teams that win game 1 of a playoff series at home are 31-7 straight up, 26-12 against the spread in game number 2 as a home favorite. That is 68.4%. When I look at this game, Lillard scored 39 points. Can he top that? I don't think so. Cantor was injured. He scored 26 points. Can he top that? I don't think so. They shot 50% from the field. Can they top that? I don't think so. I'm on the Nuggets.
And great stuff, dude. I mean, that stat about the zigzag, it just shows everybody how great you are with this type of knowledge. If people are not playing you on a regular basis, I don't get it. It's utterly baffling to me. The amount of knowledge that you have is second to none. You pretty much win in every sport that you do. It's like free money Ralph Michaels as far as I'm concerned.
I appreciate it, Prez. And again, history doesn't always, when I have these records and the great percentages, you don't want to base a play just on that. But if it's part of your repertoire and it's part of the way you handicap, these trends and angles I don't even consider myself a technical handicapper. I look at the situations, I look at matchups, but technical should be part of your entire portfolio when you're looking at a game.
Ralph, let's talk about tomorrow's game. The Raps are -1 here, and the over and under is 216.5. Look, I'm probably I'm going to take this game apart in full with my team later today, but I can't see myself not playing the under tomorrow, but here is what I think is interesting. We saw Philadelphia win in game two, but what we really saw, Ralph, was a Toronto team down by 17 points who brought it all the way back to a one bucket game. And I think that really bodes well. I actually think Toronto covers the -1 tomorrow, and I think they win both games in Philadelphia. I think it's a short number. You can count on the Prez betting the Raptors tomorrow. Where are you at?
I agree with you, and there's two reasons. You have to look at how a team did last game, and it was historically bad for Toronto. In fact, Toronto shot 36%. Okay, they've only shot under 38% 4 times this entire season. The last time was January 1st. So this calendar year, they have not shot that poorly. I expect a rebound from them. If you want the data, there's nothing convincing with this, but at least teams that are home for game 3, that lost game 1 and won game 2, you might think they're returning home with some confidence after that win at game 2. They're not. They're only 23 and 21 straight up, basically a pick 'em. They're 20 and 24 against the spread, 45%. So that's a lean with Toronto. I expect Toronto to play better. I don't think Philadelphia can match nearly what they did this last game, holding Toronto to that. I'm on the Raptors as well.
He's Ralph Michaels. I'm the Prez, and dude, you know what? Let's talk Friday, too.
You got it. Let's finish up the week.
Yeah, why not, bro? You know what? Let's just go the whole way and talk Saturday also. It makes sense. None of those games have any relevance to tonight or tomorrow's game. Boston Celtics got utterly annihilated last night. Greek Freak looked incredible. They're -2. The over and under is 220. Here's what I'll tell you as a fact. If Boston wins, it goes under. If Milwaukee wins, it goes over. I don't know what to do here in this game at all. I tend to lean on the Bucks.
I tend to agree with you, and I think it goes under either way. I think Milwaukee is now feeling pressure on the road. Remember, this is the first time they're playing round 2 road game in how many years? So playing with the intensity at this level, I think it has to get slowed down. I think Boston shows they can play good defense.
Yep.
I like the under either way. Now, here's an interesting
I agree with you there, Ralph. I'm with you 100%.
Here's an interesting fact. We talked about Philly returning home with a 1-1 record after losing game 1 and winning game 2. If a team is 1-1 and returning home like Boston is, and they won game 1 but lost game 2, the zigzag theory does take into effect. That home team, 23 and 11. Remember, the Philadelphia situation was 23 and 21. The ATS record for that home team, 20 and 14, 58%. So it is a solid play on the home team game 3 if they won game 1 and lost game 2, where I said don't play the zigzag automatically. In game 3, that zigzag does take effect because the teams are now familiar with each other playing a third game.
There's no one better on the planet with this type of stuff than Ralph Michaels. Maybe one guy is just as good, and I'm hoping to announce him joining us in the next month. Stay tuned. Ralph, listeners out there, Ralph came on the show expecting to talk about tonight. He didn't know we were going to talk about Friday. He didn't know we were going to talk about Saturday. So it's not only the knowledge base that he has, but it's the speed of finding that information. Houston -3.5, over and under 219.5. Just Houston, man. This is a tough luck team, bro. I mean, they are so good. Maybe the second best team in basketball 2 years in a row. And they just struggle to get past Golden State. And I think Golden State takes more pleasure in beating Houston than they do in beating anybody else. Beating Houston for them is like a 30-minute blowjob in front of Game of Thrones. It's pure euphoria. Here they are, a dog, plus 3.5. Ralph, I don't know what to do here. I like the over 219 flat out. I'll tell you that right now. And we saw it go over last night on a miracle. We needed 13, 14 points in the last minute, but it happened. But I gotta believe that Houston is down in the dumps, dude. I gotta believe that from an emotional perspective, to a man, they're saying we can't beat this team. And I don't think that bodes well. I would lean on Golden State here, and I think if Golden State wins, it's going to be a sweep.
Well, the exact 5 competition. They lost those first 2 in November when they didn't have their entire team together against the Rockets and the Spurs. They covered each of the last 3. Now, the problem I have with Houston is I think they went into last game with the defeatist attitude.
Yes.
They were talking the refs not coaching well and not getting the calls. You go into that playoff with that mentality that the coaches are calling, with the refs are calling things against you. I just think there's no way you come out of that mentally tough and can win that game. I think you threw that game up prior to. Now, obviously we're talking 3 or 4 days in advance in this game, so Harden's injuries to his eyes are the big story. We'll have to see what happens. But from the database, I can tell you this. Since 2003, teams that go home 0-2, which happens a lot in the playoffs, are 50-21 straight up, 43-26-2, 62.3 against the spread. If you want more recent, in the last 5 playoffs since 2014, those 0-2 teams are 11-5 straight up, 10-6 ATS. And remember, this is also that first half angle that has not been that good. But 0-2 teams returning home, again, have been a positive. They have the 1 game under. They have this one big game with the crowd into them. If they lose this game, they're done. If they win this game, they're back in it. As long as Harden is 80 to 90%, I like Houston game 3. Golden State again. Remember, this is a Golden State that team that lost twice to the Clippers. Yes, they got by Houston twice, but they did not impress the other one that said, they're the best team in the NBA. Yes, they played better in both games at home. On the road, I think a different story.
He's Ralph Michaels. I'm the Prez, and that, my friends, is Morning Joe and the Pro. Ralph, thanks for joining us. We'll see you maybe on First Pitch Friday. I don't know. I'm figuring out the schedule. I'll keep in touch. You're in the studio today with everybody?
It's just Marco and Kelly this week for the Derby. Marco's doing 10 Derby. If you want Derby information, WagerTalk has you covered with Marco's videos this week. So make sure you watch them all. And remember, 2 years ago, Marco hit that $9,000 try. We were all at the South Point together. So the man knows his horses.
Ralph, we've had a bit of a running theme the last week. I thank RJ Bell at the end of our shows. Today, I'd like to do the same. Thank you, RJ Bell, specifically for Ralph Michaels, another staff member that couldn't deal with your garbage and joined the WagerTalk family. I'm out. We love you all, and take care.
Thanks, Prez. Talk to you.